Welcome to Clear Answers About Clear Vision, the exclusive podcast series by Vance Thompson Vision. Our goal is to empower you with the knowledge and insights to make informed decisions about your eye care. Whether you're exploring options for vision correction, cataract surgery, myopia control, or oculoplastics, we're here to guide you. This podcast is dedicated to helping you achieve clear vision, one episode at a time.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for taking time out of your day to spend a little bit of time with us. I'm Mike Greenwood. I'm a cataract, cornea, glaucoma, and refractive surgeon up in Fargo, North Dakota at Vance Thompson Vision, and I'm joined by my good friend Bartman.
Hey, everybody. I'm Brandon, and I'm an anterior segment surgeon like Mike, just a few hours south on I-29 in Omaha, Nebraska. And I also work for Vance Thompson Vision. And I'm excited to be here with you all today, too.
On today's podcast, we're going to talk a little bit about cataract surgery and the different options that are available for patients. And then we're going to dive a little bit deeper into a side project that Brandon and I have been working on for a little over 3 years now called GreenMan. And if you're wondering, oh, that's kind of a catchy name, where did you come up with it? We'll get into the origins of that too. So make sure you continue to listen on that part of it. But if you're listening to this, you're obviously interested in something eye care related, and this specific podcast is going to talk about cataract surgery and a little bit less about the surgery, but more about the implants that are available for patients. And I bet a lot of you didn't realize that you have, because when it comes to the IOL that can go in your eye during cataract surgery. And what does that mean? It really comes down to how much or how little would you like to wear glasses after cataract surgery. And if we had to boil it down into three basic categories, there's an option that you wear glasses all the time for things distance and up close. It can be one pair of glasses with a progressive bifocal or trifocal or whatever maybe you're currently wearing. So that'd be one option. The second option would be the other end of the spectrum, where you don't need to wear glasses for anything in the distance or anything up close, and you kind of live your life glasses free. You can put on regular sunglasses and all those things. And then there's an option that's kind of in the middle, where you do need to wear glasses for things up close, but in the distance, you don't need glasses. So you'd be okay for driving, seeing the dashboard, those things. But if you wanted to grab your phone or grab a menu or read or anything like that, then you would need, to put on your cheaters to help out with that. So there are these different options and varieties, and there's different ways to get there. But ophthalmology is kind of one of the only fields where patients get the choice to do that. It's not like if you're getting a knee replacement, you can be like, hey, doc, can I get the sports knee for this one? I want to learn how to jump again.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
It would be super sweet. And I bet a lot of people would.
Yeah.
And so that's a little bit unique. So when it comes to cataract surgery, you have options, and our goal of today is to educate you on those options, and again, introduce maybe a new way that helps with that education process. Did I miss anything, Brandon?
No, I think you nailed it. I think the challenge, I think, of today's cataract surgeon is to really properly explain not only what is a cataract, right, but also why are there options, right? Well, there are options because there is no perfect replacement for the natural lens of the eye. We don't have that, right? And so if I can just for a moment catch everybody up to the fact that a cataract is the natural lens of the eye that's just gone cloudy over time, right? It just doesn't function the way it's supposed to. When we're young, it can see in the distance and zoom in up close. Whether or not you've got prescription glasses or not, you don't need a bifocal when you're young because your lens can flex. And when we do cataract surgery, we take that natural lens out of the eye and we have to put an implant in. Some people say, well, can I just get the cataract removed and I don't need an implant? Well, that's not how it works. We can't do that. But what we can do is put in an implant that not only corrects the cloudiness of the cataract, but it can also correct a few different aspects of your vision, as Mike was talking about earlier. And we can dive into a little bit more about how we educate patients about that. Because like I said, excellence in surgery is expected. The real success of a cataract surgeon is meeting expectations, and our job is to set them properly.
Let's maybe walk through kind of like the cataract process for patients of, kind of the crude way, or like the basic way, and then the way that we're trying to kind of change it. So you've seen your eye doctor, or somebody has told you you have a cataract. And so now you're going to the surgeon's office to meet with them. And many times you're not really getting any education before you even walk in the door. You guys that are listening, or, hopefully we're priming you a little bit for that. But you show up, you check in, they do some testing, they dilate your eyes, doctor comes in, shines bright lights in your eyes, and then does what Brandon just did, explain that you have a cataract. And by this moment in time, you've probably already been in the office for an hour, hour and a half just to get through that process. And then your eyes are dilated, so things are really fuzzy, and you're sitting in a room, and now the doctor is going to explain these different options to you like I just did, but they'll probably explain them a little bit different. And even just with that, you're going to be a little bit overwhelmed. So before we get into the options again, maybe let's back up a little bit on some of the things that we're trying to do to help alleviate that, some of the hurdles, or make this process a little bit easier for patients. So, when you're coming to our offices, what we're trying to do is educate you, the patients before they come in. So we give them, we have a couple of different ways. You get you can get something in the mail that kind of shows like, hey, there's options. So be ready to, pick an option. It's kind of like looking at the menu online before you get to the restaurant. And then we've come up with these nice little video clips that come. You actually see myself or Brandon or some of the other surgeons, and kind of explaining, hey, there's going to be these different options where you can either wear glasses all the time, or you can get out of glasses for some of the things, or all of the things, and try and, set your mind at ease before you get there. And then get into the office, and we go through the testing and things like that. And we want the team to interact and share their thoughts with you. And then we, do the exam like we mentioned. And before we get into the options with you, I want to take everybody who's listening through just a little bit of an exercise, because we've been talking about these, we've given you guys a peek behind the curtain of, hey, we're going to tell you about a couple options. But me describing them briefly and saying, you'll need glasses for everything, or you'll need glasses for nothing, or you'll need glasses for some things. Well, what do you mean like some things? And so the exercise we'll take you through, and this is one of my favorite things to do, is if you're driving, don't do this, but if you're sitting at home quietly or you're not moving, go ahead and just close your eyes for 5 seconds and think of the color green. And 5 seconds is about up. And so if you open your eyes and you look around where you're at, there's probably like 5 or 6 different color greens that are there. And the one that I was thinking about probably isn't the one that you were thinking about. And so when I say, hey, if we do regular cataract surgery and things are going to be blurry, what I say by blurry is going to be a little bit different than what your interpretation of, because you might be like, oh, I'm blurry right now, but it's cool. And I'm like, no, like it's going to be blurry. And they'll be like, yeah, I don't know, but I get blurry. I'm like, no, but it's like blurry. It's kind of like, hey, it's cold up in North Dakota right now. And Brandon's probably like, yeah, it's kind of cold in Omaha. I'm like, well, it's all relative.
That's true.
And so it's really confusing when we are using words, sometimes pictures, to try and explain things to people that haven't been through the experience. And a lot of times we relate it to, it's kind of like telling people like, hey, you're going to go get a vehicle to drive in, but we're not sure if it's going to be a truck, a car, SUV, maybe a minivan. Not quite sure what color it's going to be, but it'll move you from point A to point B. You cool with that?
It's kind of like Hotwire, though. Remember when they used to do like you can pick a hotel in one of these categories, but we won't tell you which one it is, right?
Right. Yeah, it's in a specific area within like 5 city blocks.
We'll get you close, but you don't really get to pick all the details. And our challenge as surgeons is to explain the details well enough so that patients know what they're asking for, right?
Yeah. And we talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, but it's hard because it's hard to get on the same page when you can't, you're not seeing it, you're not feeling it, you're not doing that. And there was one other piece I was going to mention with that, and I lost it a little bit.
Maybe I can share an example while you think about it. This is honestly one of the reasons why Mike and I created this particular software, and we're going to dive into that in just a moment. But one of the most frustrating things to do in cataract surgery is absolutely nail an outcome, right? You meet a patient, you agree on a plan. We say, okay, I'm going to do cataract surgery. We're going to put an implant, and I'm going to make your vision better at distance. And even though we've explained to patients that when we do that and we use a regular implant that focuses light to just one point, that patient, if they are naturally nearsighted, meaning they take their glasses off and they read every night in bed, okay, and that's what they do, right? But they say, I don't need the reading vision replacement because I can already read. So if you can make my vision better at distance, that's great. And I'll be extremely happy. And I'll say, well, you'll lose that ability up close. And they don't really understand it. Just like Mike's color green example. We do cataract surgery, everything goes picture perfect, and we nail their distance vision. And they can see without glasses like they've never seen before in their lives. They can pass driver's tests, which is a big thing. And then they come back and they are unhappy. And we feel it. It hurts when this happens because we've let them down. But in reality, we really let ourselves down because we didn't do a good enough job explaining that they will lose that near vision. And sometimes you have to show somebody something and let them experience that to understand, to truly understand what we mean when we say it will be blurry up close. And so that's where this, Mike, maybe we'll get into it now of what we created and why we think it's going to move the needle for patients and change the face of patient education and cataract surgery moving forward.
Yeah, and I thought of the things I was going to say, and it'll lead us into, the GreenMan, how we came up with the name and what it actually is. But the things I was going to mention is, oh, by the way, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity to, correct your vision or have cataract surgery. And it just happens to be on the most precious sense, which is your vision. And so it's kind of a really, 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 really big decision. And there's not really much room for do-overs. Occasionally we can go back in if someone chooses one thing and wants something different, but it's just a little bit different. And so it's a really big decision. And a lot of times you're taking our word for it, literally. And so it's a really big decision. And you might be saying like, well, shoot, why doesn't everybody just choose the option where they don't need glasses all the time? Well, there's a lot of reasons. Sometimes people like glasses. Sometimes people aren't a good candidate for those lenses. And then another reason is it costs money. So we said like you have the option of choosing which of these options do you want. Your insurance will cover your cataract surgery, but they don't cover the cost of getting out of glasses and different things like that. And so it's a financial decision for people too. Now, the good news is we think the value of these different options is worth it. And that's a discussion for another day. But those are the reasons why it's not just so straightforward of like, oh yeah, cool. It sounds like, everyone should just do this one because it makes sense and you can do it and you can always go back and change your mind. But it's not like painting a room. You can't paint a room white and then say, yes, I wish I had that sweet color green I was thinking of. So how do we get around that? Or, we've explained all the problems and Brandon and I think we've come up with a solution, and that solution is GreenMan. So we tease how we came up with the name. If you haven't figured it out yet, I'm Mike Greenwood. He's Brandon Bartman. You take Greenwood, you take Bartman, you smash them together, you get GreenMan. And so that's how we came up with the idea, but that's the name. Brandon, you want to describe what it actually is?
Yeah. And the most ironic part about this is neither Mike nor myself are gamers. And that's what everybody asks us. Well, you guys do gaming, and is that how you came up with this? No, we don't. We're just driven to find solutions and innovate, taking from one space and applying it to ours. And so, we were together on I think a hunting trip up in South Dakota a few years back. And as one does, has casual conversations about work while they're shooting pheasants. And of course, I shot more than Mike, but that's besides the point. The key to the origin story is that, Mike and I were chatting, and Mike comes to me and says, I wish that there was a better way to teach patients about what their options are with cataract surgery. And we got to discussing this, and we kind of both had the same idea of applying virtual reality technology. Why can't we just show patients using the technology that exists by presenting different lens options, maybe incorporating some of their own biometry, which is measurement of their own eye and their prescription, and show them in relative terms what these different lens options could do for their vision in terms of where's my focal point, what can I see and what can't I see, if I have my astigmatism corrected or not, what do these different lenses do, and what are the side effects of these different lenses? Because in optics, there's always a give and take. And so what we did is we set off to create a software that ran patients through these different options. And after almost 3 years, as Mike said, we're pretty darn close. And we're using this in our clinics now and launching it wider than Vance Thompson Vision now to really positive feedback from both patients and providers. And we'll get into a little bit about how it works. But the overall reality is It is the first of its kind vision simulator to represent different visual options after cataract surgery, so patients can kind of, as Mike likes to say, try it before you buy it.
Yeah. And so what we're seeking to do is, instead of us telling you what you're going to see after you have cataract surgery, we're going to show it to you. And so, we talked about how you go through all this testing. The doctor talks to you about these options, shine the bright lights. And the way we've been using this in the clinic now for the last little bit is we do the testing because we need some of that information to help, figure out what your outcome is going to be. And then you put on a virtual reality headset, and all of a sudden you're sitting in a room, not too different than, the room that Brandon and I are sitting in right now. And it's got a computer in front of you. It's got a book. It's got some things out in the distance. You can look out the window. And then we can say, hey, remember those options that we had kind of mentioned before and at the beginning of the podcast? Here's what this option 1 would look like. We'll call this a monofocal, meaning you've got some astigmatism. So if you have a monofocal lens, it's going to be blurry in the distance and it's going to be really blurry up close. For those that need reading glasses, it would be similar, but probably worse than what it's like when you don't have your reading glasses on. And hey, here's the other option where you'd be glasses free for everything. Now you can see that out the window, the trees are clear, the book up close is clear, the cell phone is clear. And then here's that middle option where it's clear in the distance. But now when I said it was going to be blurry up close, you can see the computer screen is good, but here it's blurry. And you can oh, okay, yeah, would I be able to adjust to that? Would I like that? Would I not like that? And so now you can have that experience. And so we know, that telling somebody something, they learn a little bit, showing them, they learn more. In experience, they really learn and interpret and understand it, so that when we say, hey, it's going to be blurry, now everyone is on the same page of like, oh, okay, that's what that means. And so now it's really given patients the opportunity to, like you said, Brandon, try it before they buy it and know what they're going to get themselves into. And now it doesn't matter which option they choose, they know what they're going to get. You said, hey, I'm going to get a vehicle and it's going to be a red sports car. You got it. You want a black SUV? Boom, you got it. And then we can deliver on that part of it. So we're really happy with how that's been. And we've been using it, off and on in our clinics for about a year, just over a year, as we've been testing out different things, and we've got it ironed out pretty good. We took it to some other clinics this summer, and they had good experience with it. And now we've been fine tuning it even more to make it easier for the patient and also easier for the doctor team to use. And we feel pretty confident in it, and it's been fun. And the best part about it is, like Brandon said, we're not gamers. Patients love it. They put it on. I bet almost everybody listening to this probably hasn't worn virtual reality headset before. It's pretty easy to use. You don't have to do anything. It's really fun, and you can just see people smiling and looking around the room and doing their thing. And sometimes you're holding on to joysticks to help grab and pick up the different things. And the best part is there's a table in front of them. And when they get done, they want to go set the joysticks on this table, and they let them go, and they go down to the floor because there's nothing there. So it's been a cool journey, and we've learned a lot.
Yeah, I think you touched on one of the frequently asked questions. What if I haven't used virtual reality before? And we've tracked that. And the majority, like Mike said, of cataract patients haven't, and they've really enjoyed it. It's been a nice touch to our practice, kind of giving them an experience that they can remember and take home and tell their friends about, which has really been remarkable. One of the other frequently asked questions that maybe many of you have that have been told you have a cataract and you're not seeing well is you say, well, I have a cataract. Will it still work for me to be able to understand? Will I still be able to get the value out of it? And we've looked at that too. When we first started using it, we started putting it on almost all cataract patients. And we kind of learned, there is a limit to, how bad vision can be and still get the benefit from it. But it's pretty wide, because the value in this simulator is not, this is a true, accurate, 100% what your vision's going to be. Because by the way, it's still in virtual reality. We're still limited by technology in that aspect. Where the value really comes in is the relative differences between the options. And that's really where, you can have 20/50, 20/60 vision, which is by the way, worse than legal driving vision, and still get value out of a relative simulator like this. And so we've loved it, and I'm excited to see where this goes. I think there's a lot of potential, and our dream is higher than just doing this. And for our own patients, we want to see this change the way cataract patients and vision correction patients in general are educated before they have surgery.
Yeah, and it is really cool. And you touched on this, Brandon, of, it's not perfect, but it's pretty darn close. And we actually did an official study on, how realistic is this? And so what we did was, we had patients wear it, before they had cataract surgery. And then we called them after their visit, but before they had cataract surgery, asked them about the experience. Did they like it? Was it easy to use? Was it helpful in them, understanding the different lens options and things like that? And overwhelmingly, it was yes. The questions are asked slightly different answers, but it was on a scale of 1 to 5, and most people gave it a 4 to a 5 of, yes, this was helpful. Yes, it helped me understand the options. Yes, it was easy to use. And then we asked, would you recommend it to your family and friends? And they overwhelmingly said yes. I think it was, over 90% said yes. And then after people had their cataract surgery, we reached out to them again. Now that they've had their cataract surgery, we said, hey, you had your cataract surgery. Do you remember wearing the headset and going through that process? And, 85% of people said, yeah, I remember, going through that process and everything. And we said, all right, cool. How your vision is now, is what you're seeing now similar to what we showed you in the headset? And again, overwhelmingly, the answer was yes. We asked this 3 different times, and the studies were like 90 to 94% all said yes. What I'm seeing now is what you showed me in the headset. And so that made us feel really, really good that it's really accurate and we're not showing people something that's wrong or misleading or anything like that. We're meeting their expectations, and Brandon touched on that's the most important part of cataract surgery. Obviously, outside of doing a good job, it's making sure we meet patients' expectations.
I agree. What can a patient do, Mike, if they want to learn more about our technology?
Yeah, so we're filming this a little bit before Christmas time, and these products are going to be available in Fargo and Omaha as we speak. But if you're listening to this across our network or somewhere else, they'll be available probably mid-February, which is probably the time you're listening to this. So if you're in the market for cataract surgery and you're headed to Vance Thompson Vision, they should have these devices available. You say, hey, I heard about the GreenMan thing. The product name is going to be Insight VR, but GreenMan is easier to remember because of how many times we've said it on here. But you go in, you visit with your doctor, you can mention it to them, and they'd be happy to walk you through it. And if you can also go to our website. It's greenmanvr.com. And, we'll have a couple links here in the podcast to our website. We'll have a link here to show kind of what the process looks like. You see me wear it and go through the process. And we can link it to some other things as well.
Awesome.
So I think, we talked about the problems, we talked about what we thought the solution is. And again, overwhelmingly, people have been really happy with it. And we do think we're changing how people can approach their cataract surgery and understand their options. And it's made patients happier, it's made doctors happier, and it's made the staff happier because, again, everybody's getting what they're asking for. And that really is the key. I'll let Brandon have the last word, but thank you guys so much for your time and attention.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. And I think even if you're listening and you're not part of our networks, ask your eye doctors about the GreenMan Vision Simulator or Insight VR. We're working on getting this out to as many practices as we can. We're a small startup company, obviously run by a couple of surgeons, but our team is growing, which is really exciting. And we're thrilled to watch this grow and change the face of patient education in cataract surgery. And so thank you for your time and attention, and reach out to us if you need any more information. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for listening to Clear Answers About Clear Vision, the exclusive podcast by Vance Thompson Vision. We hope this episode has empowered you to take the next step toward achieving clear vision. If you found this information helpful, please share it with a friend who might benefit too. Ready to take the next step? Schedule an evaluation with our expert team or visit us online at vancethompsonvision.com to learn more. Together, we'll help you see the world more clearly, one decision at a time. Until next time, take care and keep your vision worth seeing.